Here we are, episode number 63. Ronald Nesty here in St. Charles, Illinois, rock and roll heaven at the Arcada Theater outside of Chicago. Welcome to our Thursday night episode of, I'll tell you what, I'm just loving this, Hangin' and Bangin' Artists on Lockdown. Tonight, we've got very special guests we're going to get into in just a minute, but before I do, like we do every Thursday, actually, who's becoming a special guest now is, you know him from Dio, you know him from Last in Line, you know him from Black Sabbath, Vinny Appice, who is my brother. You know, you're getting to be like a special guest now. Like, is he going to show up?
Guest. I am.
Well, you're a host. You're supposed to be a host.
I had a password problem. I changed my password, and on the laptop, I had to put the password in, but it's a long one. Hey, there's a guy peeking over your shoulder out of the other room there.
I know. He heard about us, the last episode. Remember, everybody had hats on. So he goes, hey, I want to be on the next episode. So
yeah, there he goes. And he's got the mustache, too, like somebody we know.
Oh, you know what? Since you bring that up, let's bring our big brother to the screen. You know him from Vanilla Fudge. There he is. Charlie Chaplin. Appice.
Charlie.
Let me go get my hat.
Not Carmine, Charlie. We're going to call you Charlie.
Hey, where are you, Ron? You're in a different room in the theater, right?
Yes, now I'm at I'm in my speakeasy in St. Charles. This is the Charlie Chaplin room. I'd love to take you on a tour for one. I've got all vintage cool cameras and really cool stuff in here.
Yeah.
And
that's cool.
Is that in the Arcada Theater?
Yeah, that's on the
upstairs,
third floor.
Upstairs, yeah.
Upstairs. Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can.
I've been up there because I'm a special guest. So I don't know if you.
Yeah.
Well, see that you know what I was telling Carm.
I've been up there, and that's a camera. That's a camera behind you, right?
That's right. You know, Carm, I was telling that Vinny, was started off as a host, but he's like not on all the time. Now he's like when he shows up, it's like a big ass deal. It's like
it's a special guest. Oh my
God. The limo was late. The limo was late. So what can I say?
How many times you said that in your lifetime there, buddy?
Hey, I just booked a hotel for the gig we're doing at your place.
Oh, I think you... Well, wait, aren't you... Oh, no, we're not. You're not doing mine. That's right.
Who?
Because I thought...
No, Last in Line. We're playing...
No, I know you are. I'm talking to Carmine because it was so freaking weird that
I had it all going. I had it all going. We were going to rehearse at your place.
I know. What do we do?
And now that screws me up because now I don't know when I'm going to rehearse with Vanilla Fudge.
When's your next gig?
Well, the next case is October 27th, but I was going to rehearse just before that with Cactus because we go from October 27th right through to like November 4th and November 5th. We're coming to you.
Well, so if it's any consolation, I've lost another small fortune, and I pissed off a lot of people. Yeah. And what am I going to do? We're freaking we're like,
Well, you didn't lose the deposits, right?
No, but there are people that that are not going to come now, and it scares people too. You start canceling shows, people get freaked out right now.
Somebody told me today somebody said today that this is bioweapons.
Oh, come on!
It's rock and roll. Come on, the show goes on.
It's so funny.
We just played 4 shows, and the people went crazy.
It's okay, just don't say whore. You weren't on the call before.
Don't say.
Horror. It's another thing. We'll get into it. We got Waddy. Speaking of Waddy, let's get these guys on because I can chat with you guys. But Waddy Wachtel, Danny Kortchmar are two guys that are part of a band called The Immediate Family. I want to spend 3 hours talking to these guys. Let's bring them on because there's Waddy.
There's Waddy.
And there's Cooch. There's Cooch.
Hey, guys.
Hey, boys.
Welcome to the show, you guys. And I know you guys are known for like California, all that kind of that sound, of course. But I want to start off with the fact that we've got all these East Coast guys. You guys are originally East Coast.
Everybody.
And Danny, you made a statement earlier that you can't take the New York out of you. So you still got the New York out in California?
Absolutely. It never goes away.
That's why we all did well out there.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
There's no good bagels. There's no good bagels out here.
I'm afraid you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
No pizza.
There used to be I Enjoy Bagels. You remember them? Guys?
Yeah.
They were good.
Yeah.
They were good.
That was good.
Now they call Manhattan Bagel or something out there.
I don't know. I ain't had a good one since then either.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, and the question I want to start with, because this whole New York thing, and so many stars did come from the East Coast, migrated to the West Coast. How did that all happen? And was it something like actors when I want to go to Hollywood, I want to be an actor? Why did you guys all feel that you had to leave New York to become a star?
Well, we didn't leave New York to become a star. We left New York. I left New York around 66, 67, because there was nothing going on. The session scene was a closed situation, and you couldn't get in there. And basically, I was freezing my ass. I was walking down 57th Street with an amp and a guitar. It's snowing. I'm freezing my ass off. I said, later for this, there's got to be a better way. So I was offered to be with a band that from LA had come through town, and they were looking for a guitar player. So I signed up with them, and that's how I got out there.
Yeah.
And how about you, Waddy?
I had a band working the East Coast, and we just weren't getting anywhere. And as Carmine knows from playing Newport, Rhode Island, that's the home of the Cowsill family. And and their horrible father turned out to be my manager. He's one of the worst fucking people in the world. But
like a Brian Wilson's father.
Oh my God.
I think Bud was even worse. Bud was about the lowest.
Bud Cowsill was. He was.
You knew him, right? He was fucking amazing. But
I saw the movie.
Yeah, right.
Amazon
it's heavy.
Netflix.
But he said, "I'm moving my whole operation to California. You want to go?" I went, "Absolutely. Get me out of here." Because, like Danny, you couldn't get in the studios. Like Danny said, it was impossible. I mean, Leslie West and I lived in the same building. I taught Leslie how to play. And next thing I know, Leslie and the Vagrants have a record deal. And I'm sitting there going, I can't even walk into that studio. How did these guys get a record deal? I'm so sick in New York.
And that's what happened with me, with Leslie and the Vagrants. They were doing that production stuff in Long Island.
Right.
I was playing with an R&B band. And then the Pigeons, Mark and Timmy came up to me and said, "We're going to do this production thing. We need you. You sing. You got a great foot. You got a good feel. You got technique. We need you." So I went out and checked it out, and they were great. And I saw the Vagrants.
Carmine.
What?
I think he was talking about me.
Get out of here.
You're just a puppy.
I used to play with my soul band. The Vagrants played opposite me in a club in the city. And we were all pinstripe suits and teased up hair and horns and stuff. And they walked in looking like the Rolling Stones, grungy.
Yeah, they're
I
funky.
said, who are these guys, And then they ended up drawing 2,000 people at the Action House in Long Island.
Really? Wow, yeah, I know. They had a big following.
And then we followed that direction, and then we ended up with the only one that had a record deal that made it out of there.
Wow. Well, why do you think, Waddy, the Cowsills, they had a couple hits. Paul, one of the wackiest guys I've ever met. Susan's a sweetheart, of course. And, they had that whole thing going, Partridge Family, kind of the inspiration for all that stuff. Why do you think they didn't really become the level that you would think they would have with that kind of a manager that was psycho, their dad?
Maybe that's
because of their dad. He fucked everything up for them, like he did for us. Every record deal I got, we did a demo when I first got to L.A., and I got a phone call, and it was Ahmet Ertegun on the phone. He's going, I want to speak to Waddy. I want to speak to Waddy. I went, this is Waddy. And I could hear my demo playing in the background. And he's going, I love this fucking record. Welcome to Atlantic Records. You're on Atlantic now. 2 days later, Bud tells me the deal's over. What do you mean it's over? How can it be over? It's unbelievable. And then he proceeded to blow every record deal we got. So he... when you mentioned the Partridge Family, that was supposed to be them. That was written for them specifically, but Bud went to the meeting and tried to ask for too much, and said, you can't, fuck you, you can't do this show without us. And they went, you know what? Yes, we can. Get out. So that's what happened. That's why their career stalled, because Bud screwed everything at every turn. But he got me out to California, thank God. So.
I went out in '75 because there was nothing happening in '75, and like Danny with the cold, I had a house in Long Island, and I had a long driveway up a hill. Man, one time I came back, I was playing with Leslie West in '75, and we opened up for Kiss. I came back and I got to my house. I was driving my father's car that I borrowed at the airport, and I left it there. I drive home. I couldn't get the car up the driveway because it had snow up there. I had to walk up there with my suitcases through the snow, all the way up the long driveway. I said, you know what? I'm out of here. And then I went to California with Rick Gretsch from Blind Faith, and we stayed at my older brother Frank's house for a minute. And then we worked out a deal with Elliot Roberts, who was David Geffen's partner. You know Elliot, right? And
Great.
it was
great
KGB
Elliot.
with Mike Bloomfield. So I went out and did that, and that's what took me out to California. I was out there 8 months, staying at the Oakwood, going to the Rainbow every night, having a great time. Didn't rain in 8 months. I go, I want to live here.
Right. The rest, as they
I
say.
did it. Yeah, I did it.
Still hasn't rained.
Let's just take a step back real quick because I was so excited. I just jumped into it with these guys, and I'm such a fan. And I just want to give you a proper introduction because for over 50 years, the immediate family has been together, basically, backing, playing alongside, writing music, writing songs, writing hits, co-writing hits. It goes on and on and on. And these two gentlemen, along with Russ Leland, of course, Leland Sklar is one of our favorites as well. Been doing this just. It's I know you get brought up. I don't want to say compared because it is a different thing altogether, I believe. But Wrecking Crew, Funk Brothers. Matter of fact, Danny Tedesco is a good friend. Was telling me about the project he's working on with you guys, doing a documentary about the immediate family. How much of that is comparable to the Wrecking Crew and that kind of a situation, as opposed to you being part of the songwriting team? Because those guys really were the songwriters.
We weren't really. You can't really compare us to the Wrecking Crew. Them fellers were very different than us,
Right.
in several ways. One is that they were mostly jazz musicians, and we're rock and roll musicians. Those guys didn't come up as rock and roll musicians. We did. That's one thing. Second of all, we started playing with singer-songwriters back there. That's how Waddy and I got our start, is playing with all these brilliant singer-songwriters. And so we had a very different attitude about it than the Wrecking Crew. Those fellas, they would do a 10-1, a 2-5, a 6 whenever, and it was jingles. Didn't matter what it was. You just go. With us, we were lucky enough that we did more like projects. In other words, somebody like Peter Asher would bring us on. We would do a James Taylor record. We'd rehearse, do the album, and then go on the road with James. And that's another thing. The Wrecking Crew never went on the road.
Never, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the big difference.
Exactly, and that's where I was going because you're the credits is just. I mean, I could have taken the hour and just read your credits, and then we could say thank you, everybody, good night. It's just amazing. I want to talk a little bit about Warren Zevon, Waddy. Obviously, he was one of a true rare genius of our time, and you worked with him, co-wrote. Was it Werewolves?
Yeah.
Take me down the road of that whole writing session, where Werewolves of London came from. I mean, that's a shot, right?
Well, Warren and I met. We both played for the Everly Brothers, and Phil Everly called Warren one night and said he just saw there's an old movie called The Werewolf of London, English horror movie, and Phil had seen it, so he called Warren and said,
I've seen it.
You've seen it? Yeah, I've never seen it. I've seen the ad, I've seen the posters for it, but I've never seen the movie. But he called Warren and said, you guys should write a song called Werewolf of London. And it just so happened that the next day, I came home that day from being in London, and I was on my way to a session the next day, and I stopped by. There's a third writer on the song named Roy Marinell, and Warren was at Roy's house when I stopped by there. And he goes, oh man, I can't believe you're here. Phil called me last night. He wants us to write a song called Werewolves of London. And I said, oh, okay, well, and this friend of ours, Roy, he had this one guitar lick that we tried to put in a million songs for years and could never do it. And finally, I just looked at Roy and I went, Werewolves of London, that's easy. Roy, play that fucking lick. And it was, you know what lick it is. It's the main lick of Werewolves.
Yep.
And because I had just been there, and because I had just gone to a restaurant called Lee Ho Fook's, I just looked at Warren in the eye and I saw a werewolf with a Chinese menu in his hand, walking down the streets of Soho in the rain. He's going, I said, you mean like that? He goes, yeah, like that. I said, he's looking for I said the whole first verse basically. And then I said, and it's a wolf, so we ought to go, "Ahoo," like that. "Ahoo." And Warren said, yeah, more. And I went, more? I got to go. You guys write it. I got to go. And so Warren and Roy wrote most of the rest of the song. And then we had it, but the funniest thing is that even after we recorded it, Warren still wasn't happy with it. He goes, it needs another line. It needs a last line. It needs a last line. So I'm out on the road with Linda Ronstadt, and I get a phone call. It's Warren. He goes, I got it. What do you mean you got it? He goes, I got the last line. And he tells me, I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect. And I'm on the phone. I just done a show with Linda. I went, that's it? He goes, that's it. I went, okay, we got it. I'll see you in 2 days. We'll record it. And that was it,
From one genius to another. It's
That's
simple
great.
to you guys, but the rest, as they say, is history. Danny, growing up with, basically growing up with James Taylor, right? Did you guys ever have that conversation? I mean, how old were you when you first started, just kind of hanging out? And did you guys ever have that conversation about, like, one day I'm going to be somebody, one day I plan on going, being a big star? Did you ever have that conversation?
No. We never did. I met him, we were little kids, so I was like 13 or 14 when we met. And we had no idea about being a big star. But we loved music. We wanted to play. And we're both heavy into blues. Mm-hmm. And we just found each other, We had a lot in common, especially based on music. So we just came together. We started to play. He got better amazingly quickly. As a matter, he went away for one summer. He came back the next summer. And basically his style that you hear now, he had that complete by age 15.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Like a Robert Johnson thing, man. That's weird.
Yeah, except he didn't go to sell his soul to Satan.
Right.
Did your relationship with James kind of lead to being part of the Tapestry album with Carol, or was that because I know how close they were?
Well, it's actually the other way around. I was in a band with James, and we were playing downtown at the Night Owl Cafe on 3rd Street, and a pal of mine was a guy named Charlie Larkin. He was in a band called The Middle Class. They were good too, and we became pals. And it turned out he was going out with Carol. Carol had broken up with her husband, Jerry Goffin, and she was dating him. And so he brought her down to the Night Owl to see us play, to see our band, The Flying Machine. So she came in and saw us, and she liked what she saw. James wandered off. He was too shy. So I had to drag him over to the table to introduce him to Carol.
Really? You introduced him to Carol?
I introduced, yes.
Wow.
He was shaking in his shoes. We all were. I mean, Carol's so legendary. I knew all about those Goffin and King songs. We all know who was the heavy writers back then. And so it was a hell of a thing. And then she started calling me to play on her publishing demos. So that was the first time I was in the studio, really, doing that stuff. Yeah. That's
really something. That I didn't know. Waddy, when you're working, I'm looking again at the credits that you both, all of the immediate family has worked with, and you look at you're working from Warren Zevon to Linda Ronstadt, from Stevie Nicks to the Rolling Stones. I mean, so many different styles, so many different elements. How difficult was it going from one to the next? Was it a smooth transition? Were you part of the development of some of these styles?
As part of each song you work on is the style you got to come up with, and like Danny said, from our coming up working with all these different singer songwriters, you've got to go in the studio and you got to listen to the song and come up with the appropriate thing for it, and that's the job, and that's how we've been doing it.
It's a sign of a good musician being able to take your style and move around,
Well, yeah, you gotta really listen to what you're playing to. You gotta. It's the song that matters, and our lives are counterpoint. That's our lives are based on counterpoint, on everything that happens when the singer isn't singing what needs to be there.
Right.
And but on some of the songs, you're in there from the very beginning on them. Here's the song. What do I do with it? And that's the difference of our version of work to the wrecking crew. You know, wrecking crew would walk in, they'd have a chart in front of them, they'd read it, they'd play what they had to do. We'd walk in, they'd play us a song. You'd write down a chord chart, or they'd have a simple chord chart, but they'd have no arrangement whatsoever, and we would come up with it. Leland, Russell, Danny, myself, and so many of our brothers that we worked with in this town for all these years. You know, that was the gig. You come up with the shit.
Yeah.
So at that time, the environment, Carmine, you know, you're part of that environment too at that time, that 67, 68, 69, 70, that whole thing. Were you as much in California? These guys are obviously in an environment in California. I don't get that from you. Were you part of that? I know you did it, but were you part of that environment, that neighborhood?
I was never a session guy. You know, I was usually in a band that made it, like from Vanilla Fudge. I went into Cactus. I went into Beck Bogan and the Beast, and KGB is when I went out to California. Had I not gone out to California, I never would have played with Rod Stewart, you know, and all the other stuff I did out there. But I never, and then when I did sessions, I would do like Eddie Money and Eric Carmen, Ronnie Wood, you know, name guys, Paul Stanley. I never did like Joe Schmo, you know, like some people do. They play in everybody's session. They play, you know, hey, how much does it pay? A double scale, okay. Well, who's the name of the guy? Joe Schmo? Yeah, no problem. You know, but I never did that. I always played with, I did sessions for career moves, you know.
Gotcha.
And I almost did one with you because Jimmy Iovine called me in '82 or '83 and he asked me to play on a Stevie Nicks song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
that would have been a guess.
And I was out of town.
Ah, shit.
And
What a
I
drag.
wasn't there. And then he said, well, I'll call you back for another one. And I never heard from him again, ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
When we go back with him, because Vinny used to go to the record plant before Jimmy made it, when he was the second engineer. And I worked with him at the record plant. He did my demos with Ray Gomez and Jeff Berlin. I had like a band with Chick Corea with vocals. And Jimmy Iovine was the second engineer, and I gave him a job to do the demos as an engineer. You know, and Vinny was working with him up there as well. And then he became so big, I couldn't believe it, you know.
Yeah.
Danny, if there was a song, I mean, you know, this is one of those stupid questions. Like, okay, so why ask it? I'm going to ask it anyway. So, you know, when they ask Robert Plant, do you have a favorite Led Zeppelin song, or, you know, I mean, but is there a song that you're most proud of that you're really like, man, this is the holy grail for me personally?
Why are you asking that, Ron?
I know. As I'm asking, I'm saying you freaking idiot, but I want to know it.
You shouldn't ask that.
There's a lot of, you know, I was
There's
lucky
kids
enough to play on a lot of different songs, you know. If I had to pick one, like what you're talking about, I might say All She Wants to Do Is Dance by Don Henley.
That's it.
I wrote that too.
You played on it? Who
wrote it.
that, Dan?
That's
wrote it.
Played on it
I love that song, dude.
Yeah, that's a cool song.
I love that one. That was a cool song.
That's Danny's
man.
song, totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
Good man.
So tell me about the song, Danny. What's the origin? What's the story behind the song?
All right. Well, I'll tell you. I was working with Henley on his. I guess this was his second album by then, and I would write, you know, music and play it for him. And if he dug it, we would go and start recording it because he felt he could sing to it. A lot of times we would cut the track before he even had the song written. So in this case, I was sitting home. I had one of the very first DX7s, and Henley. One of the great things about working with Henley back there in the '80s is
Tell everybody what that is.
the Yamaha DX7 is one of the first synthesizers. Everyone had one ultimately, but we had like the first one because of Henley. If a piece of gear came along that we heard about from our pals in Toto or whatever, he would send his guy and said, "Go get one." The next day it would show up. I love that. So anyway, I got this DX7, and there's a sample and hold thing on it. You push down, it goes like that. So I slowed it way down, ran through a Marshall amp, and that's that sound you hear on the record.
Wow.
It's a great sound, man. It's so, you know, and it's one of those sounds that you know the song from the sound.
That's the idea.
You know, it's such a tremendous question, Vinny. I got to ask that of Waddy. How about you, Waddy?
It's very hard to answer that. You know.
I know. It's like asking which one of your kids is your favorite kid. I get it.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there's so many songs that you worked on, but aside from doing the stuff with the immediate family that blew our own minds when we were listening back to our shit, but cutting "Take It So Hard" with Keith Richards on night one of the first sessions we did for that first solo album of his. Take one, "Take It So Hard," cut live solo on it. Pretty proud moment, you know. Pretty amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, there's so many moments in the studio with every other day that you spend with these great people.
Yeah.
So that these incredible moments come up. And these songs.
I got a
blossom.
question.
Uh-oh.
How many sessions have you done? How many different artists, Waddy? Do you know?
No, I don't know. I really don't know.
Danny?
5.
All right. That was just today.
That's good.
That was today. Yeah.
You know what? We brought up Stones a little bit. Let's just take a moment real quick to give me your, you know, and I think you know what we're gonna say, but about Charlie Watts. I mean, you know, your memories, your moments.
Go ahead, Wad.
Well, I did. I spent about 2.5 months with them doing that Bridges to Babylon record. Jim Keltner and I were there every night. And Charlie was, first of all, one of the sweetest, gentlest, most reserved and classy guys in the world. And when we played every night. We just would start at 8 o'clock at night and play till about 4, 5, 6 in the morning. And he would just lay it down, burn it out. He and Keltner would just sit there having a ball together. And Charlie was just a magic guy. Every time he would play, there was the song sitting right there. And his approach to everything was amazing. I'll tell you a funny moment. We were in the studio. We all went in the booth to listen to this next tune we were going to do, demo. And at that point I had this little rubber barbed wire bracelet, rubber, you know. So I'm sitting there like this on the console, listening to it. All of a sudden, Charlie, he's like staring at this thing, looking at it, and all of a sudden his finger comes up and he starts going, and he looks at me and goes, "It's rubber, isn't it?" And I went, "Of course it's rubber. What do you fucking think? It's metal? I'd be bleeding."
He was deep.
He goes, "Oh yeah." I goes, "Oh yeah, that's right. You'd be bleeding, wouldn't you?" I said, "Yeah, that's right."
You know,
He was a doll.
You hear all the fireworks. I wish
That's
someone
funny.
can answer the question. You know, you hear all the fireworks between Mick and Keith, and they don't talk, and lawyers got to talk. They travel with their lawyers, all that stuff. I wonder how Charlie fit into that equation. Was he a guy did he have his lawyer talking to everybody? Was he like that too? Was he the go-between? I don't know who would answer that question, but that I've always wondered, because he seems, like you said, so reserved, so classy, so warm, so quiet. You know. Yeah. Wouldn't get. I
didn't see his lawyers there.
Yeah, right.
I didn't see anybody's lawyers there, really. No. I think that's a bit, exaggerated.
Overblown.
Yeah, right. So, Cooch, they call you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Cooch from New York. I freaking love it. He's got a scarf on, like he's walking like a fall day.
Cooch. Hey, yo, Cooch.
Hey, Cooch, you come. Hey, Miss. I love this. Hey, Mrs. Cooch, could Danny come out and play? Right? Is that what happened? When did you get the Cooch name?
I got it in summer camp when I was 11 or 12 or something.
There you go.
They couldn't pronounce my real name, Kortchmar, so it came out Kortchmar and then Cooch. Before I know it, everyone's calling me that. Yeah.
You know, I see, I hear Cooch, and I think Cheech and Chung, Up in Smoke. I mean, you don't hear those guys. We have all these people on the show, and we talk about all these stars and celebrities and famous people. We don't have a whole lot of Cheech and Chong stories. And I know you did music for Up in Smoke.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, they weren't there when we were doing it. I got a call from Lou Adler telling me about the movie that he was making, what he was doing, and could I come up with some music for it? So right away I called Waddy. So we came over and came up with a couple of cues, a couple of themes that we thought would work with pretty much anything. And when we got there, we didn't see the film until we got there, or any of it, you know.
Yeah.
And but we knew kind of what to do, so we had a couple of things together, and that's what you hear on the soundtrack. I think it was.
Did you have any interaction? I know you typically don't have interaction.
I think it was Rick. Yeah.
So it was Ricky on drums, the two of us. I can't remember who played bass.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, and away we went. We just hit it, you know, like we do.
Any interaction with the guys?
Well, I know them. Watt, I'm sure, knows them too. They're very nice guys.
Yeah.
They're very bright guys.
Oh, they're great.
You know? But that it's an act. Let me put it that way. Those accents and that whole thing, that's an act.
Yeah.
Like that. And they're very bright, as sharp as a tack, both of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I don't even know how many years ago, but in my early career in this crazy business, part of it was we had a security company that did backstage security, and we got the gig when they shot. I forgot what the movie is now. They shot a film here in Chicago, and I got the gig with all my guys to be security, and I specifically got the gig of watching Tommy Chong's son Paris when he was 5 years old. And he was a little, you know, and the kid knew the kid was talking like Tommy high. He's 5 years old. It was really, really interesting. And, you know, and I actually got a bandana, the blue bandana that he wears in the movie Tommy gave to me. But again, you're right. Two guys, smart business guys, intelligent. I mean, really, really, and really nice guys.
Yeah, very nice people.
So I got to change the subject a little bit.
Okay.
I'm surprised Vinny didn't do this. What are you wearing, Ron?
I am wearing.
I almost did it. I almost did it, but
What is it?
So here's the thing. They do this all the time to me.
it's from the priest or something.
Fleur de lis? What? Fleur de lis? What the fuck?
What?
Is it a one-piece shirt?
It's a
Father
shirt.
or
Let me
Nessie?
see. It's a thing. I got the thing on the back here. I don't know.
Wow.
So what's happening? I was telling the guys, you know, we got. I've got the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band here tonight. They go on in exactly 1 hour, and this is my feeble attempt at a country look. You know, I don't do a whole lot of country, but this is it.
That's pretty feeble, dude.
Yeah, what country?
What country?
What country?
Yeah,
right. Florence,
Come on,
Italy.
Ronnie. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised Vinny didn't get you on that.
Yeah, I almost did. I was talking too much in the beginning, so I was looking
Picks
at
on
it.
You know, you guys.
I'm
Danny
looking at it.
Bryan-
I couldn't figure it out. Is it a vest? Is it over?
I couldn't.
A shirt?
No, it's a shirt. It's the best I could do. I'm gonna go down there, and they're gonna look at me.
Did
and say
you
the same
buy
thing. What are you
that
trying
for
to
the
do?
show?
Yeah. All right. I probably have made better purchases in my life. Okay. Let's
Okay,
get back
just
to the real.
Just curious.
Let's
Are
get
those
back
available? Are they available online?
to. They're only coming kid sizes apparently. So.
Ron,
Hey.
do they make that for men?
All right.
Hey,
Danny.
all right.
Cooch.
You got all the New
Got it.
Yorkers on you now, dude.
Got it.
Listen, I got 4 legends I'm talking to, and we're talking about my freaking shirt. Are you kidding me? 4 rock and roll musical
We had to
legends.
break it up.
So-
We had to break it up with something.
You know what? Speaking of breaking up, I think this is a really good time. Each week we're here, guys, on a Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, hanging and banging. And we've been doing this for 63 weeks now. And we got some great guests coming next week. And I think Carmine cut a commercial. Let's go to that, Mr. Ben.
Come on a piece here for Hangin' and Bangin'. September 16th, Simon Phillips, Nika McBrain, both on the same show. It's going to be a really awesome show. So check it out. Artists on Lockdown Facebook. Come on a piece official Facebook. 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central. And man, we're going to rock. And it's also 4 p.m. over there on the West Coast, okay? So Simon Phillips, Nika McBrain, Hangin' and Bangin'. See you there.
Riveting. I tell you what. I think you guys should make Carmine part of the immediate family just for his acting ability alone.
Totally.
Good idea.
Totally. Well, come on.
Where
dude.
were you, Carm? That beautiful was a
That's my
Steinway.
house.
What was?
That's my house.
Which one though? Are you in Florida, in New York?
Yeah, Florida. That's in Florida.
So what do you do with a piano there?
Leslie plays the piano. She's had
Oh,
the piano.
okay.
She reads too. She actually reads it. I can't do that.
Has Mark been down by you?
Mark Stein?
Yeah.
Mark Stein.
He lives 40 minutes. I haven't seen him because of COVID. He don't leave his house. So.
Smart.
Hey, speaking of living, me and Vinny are going on a little tour next week. You know that, right?
Drum Wars.
Drum Wars out on. There's our little poster. You can't read it, but we're doing the Cutting Room in New York. We're doing where's that other place? I can't see it.
Jurgles, Warrendale, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and
The Greek Church. I don't know
Hall.
what that is.
Yeah, that used to be the Performing Arts Center in Milford, but they're redoing
It's like a
it.
church.
Yeah, it's like the bottom of a church. And then
Maybe
the
we
back
should
lot,
borrow
entertainment.
Ron's shirt for that gig.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Waddy, Danny, I don't know if you guys have ever seen these two guys on Drum Wars. Have you ever seen this show yet?
No, I don't think so.
Never.
Let me tell you
No.
something. If you
Wow.
get a chance, because I hate, especially Vinny, I hate giving him compliments. I hate it, but I have to. I really do, because these guys are tremendous, and the show itself is so good because they're throwing, there you go, throwing sticks back to each other. They're throwing shtick and shticks back and forth.
Right.
And then musically, obviously, what can you say? It's a great show.
And the good thing about it, the drums are right up front.
Yep.
Right.
Look at this.
There's our real set right there.
That's my set. I let him use my set for the gig.
Street fight.
And,
That's
I
it.
did an interview today with the Connecticut radio station, and they said, "Hey, we're promoting the show. You guys bring in the toy drums?" That's where those
Yeah.
were
Oh.
at. Yeah. I said, "No, I don't think so." And I said, "We did the toy drive for a station, I think, in New Haven." He said, "No, that was us in Milford." I said, "Oh, sorry."
It's a great part of the show. Hey, Waddy, we're talking about actors and acting, and I gotta say, your performance in the Poseidon Adventure, I was crying. I was in tears.
So was
Wait a
I.
minute.
So was I. Yeah.
Wait a
So
minute.
was
Wait
I.
a minute. What scene was that?
It's in the dining room. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's the dining room scene right before the flood happens, right before the
Oh my
ship
God.
crashes. Oh yeah.
The band
Yeah, it
is
was,
playing.
What were you playing by yourself?
No, I was with this, little band. What happened was I was on the date for the soundtrack, and we were cutting that song, and the director came in, and he just looked at the band and went, him, and him. I want them for the movie. I went, what? And all of a sudden they said, you're going to be in the movie. This was new. This is early in my stay in California.
Yeah.
We were working at Paramount Soundstage, recording this
Wow.
huge orchestra, my first orchestra date ever. And Ronald Neame, who was the director, just said, I want these three guys to be in the band on camera. So next thing I knew, I was on the set at Paramount for 2 weeks, getting
Did
paid
you get
to
hurt? Did you get
hang
hurt when
around.
the boat sank?
Did you
No,
get
I
wet?
was okay. Yeah,
Did you
I
get
got
wet?
pretty wet. The funniest thing is, years later, when I was in New York working on a record with Keith Richards, staying at the Mayflower, the old Mayflower Hotel, and I get in the elevator, and Gene Hackman is in the elevator, and he's a big guy, and there was no one else in there, so I just had to say to him, I said, you're going to find this very hard to believe, but we've worked together. And he goes, you and I worked together, huh? Where did we work together? And I said, I was in the band in the Poseidon Adventure. He goes, oh man, that's right. I recognize you now. It was hysterical. It was
I
very
told you
funny.
it was a riveting
Hey,
performance.
what's that above you?
Yeah, riveting,
Number,
riveting.
Number six. Number
Hey,
six.
I should talk about my film career over here for a minute, okay?
That's right, man. Come on.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, I was in Spinal Tap,
Yes,
Yeah.
he was.
the movie.
Fucking right.
And, I played a very small role as in the Thamesman. You guys remember Spinal? You guys seen Spinal Tap, right?
Oh yeah.
Tell him,
Oh my
tell him
God.
your name, Danny.
All right.
Tell him your name.
The name they gave me was Ronnie Pudding. That was my name.
That's my name.
Oh, you should you can have it. As it turned out, I'll just say one more thing about that. As it turns out, they gave a name and a bio of every single character that's in the movie, no matter how small their part. So Ronnie
That's
Pudding,
fun.
his bio was that after "Give Me Some Money," which is the tune we played, after that was a hit, Ronnie Pudding assumed it was because he was so cute and so good looking. So he quit and started his own band, The Pudding People, which went right down the shitter and was never heard from again.
That's funny.
You know that
great.
it's really interesting because that film, just all kidding aside, comes up time and time again.
That was the Bible, man. That
Yeah.
movie.
I was
would
living that with King Cobra. I lived that movie.
A bunch of us have. We've all seen
Sure.
Oh, man.
We all have, yeah.
I wouldn't even watch it on the bus. It
Too close to home.
Well,
true
that's
to
what I
life.
heard about that film. Is that at the beginning it was a little cheesy for the guys. They didn't want to identify with it, but then after 10 years, 15 years, whatever it was, then
Yeah,
everyone
then it's okay.
really, yeah, everyone
And
really
then our
rallied
good,
around it.
our good buddy was Paul Shortino. He played, what's the part he played, Vinny?
I
God.
don't know his name.
Duke Fame.
Oh yeah, Duke Fame.
Duke
that's
Fame.
it.
Duke
Hey,
Fame.
wow.
He was the guy walking with all the chicks around him and stuff. Now he sings with me in my King Cobra albums.
Oh, really? Well,
He's an old friend of ours, me and Vinny. He was on. Paul Shostina was on last week.
Yeah.
Yep,
You remember?
yep. That's what I'm saying. It comes up time and time again. Hey guys, let's
Two in a
let's talk real quick about the new album. I know you guys said it's hit the blues charts.
Yeah.
Obviously, there it is. Yes, it's hit the blues chart right there. Were you guys literally going at first for a quote unquote blues album, or did it kind of evolve that way?
Nope. You're definitely not going for a blues album. We're not a blues band. We're a rock and roll band.
That's why the question.
I don't know why they call us blues, but we're glad to be on any chart, of course. And,
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
that's very nice. But Waddy and I were really amused. There's no blues on that album.
I saw the video. I looked at you guys' video, and when they told me you're number 6 on the blues album, I said, that didn't sound like blues to me.
It's
Right.
ridiculous. Yeah.
But who
mean, the-
determines that? Like the record company?
we have no idea. We have no idea.
What label is it on?
Well, we're on
Alligator.
Cortchmar Valley is our label, but I think it was decided by Billboard magazine. They have some weird thing that if you,
amazing.
depending on your numbers, if your numbers aren't high enough, you get on the blues chart. If it gets higher than that, you go into the rock.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
There
it.
you go. That sounds
The
right.
first single that we released, "Cruel Twist," Danny's shuffle, is kind of a blues tune.
That's
So,
blues, yeah.
but then you hear some of the other tunes that we did on the Blues Channel. So we're very grateful, but very confused about it. But like Danny
it's
said,
great that
happy
you
to
get
be
some
on any
airplay.
chart. Yeah,
Well,
it's fantastic.
Happy to be,
Yeah.
number 6 on any chart.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Who's
Totally
playing
wonderful.
drums in this band?
Russ Kunkel.
Russ Kump.
Russ.
Oh, okay.
I want to know one thing. You've been with Lee for ages. When I did the record, the Derringer of Peace record, he played on it. His beard was that long. How often does he cut it?
Never.
I don't think
Doesn't.
Wow.
So
look at-
stop.
that's
Would it
some
stop
beard.
growing? Did it stop growing?
He does mow it every Saturday morning.
We've never asked him. I've never asked him. I've known him more than
Yeah.
50 years. I've never asked him.
I don't really want to know.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Some things
I know
better
what you
left
mean.
unsaid.
Yeah.
That's right. There's
Is he
probably
married?
someone
Is
living
he
in
married?
there.
Is
Yeah,
he
he's
married?
married. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's married.
How do you kiss him with that? I don't know how you get to the mouth.
You have to ask
Why
him
do you
to
care? Why do you
Again.
care?
Yeah.
Again.
Let's
I
not
love
go
Lee.
there.
I love him.
Don't
I
wanna
love
know.
his playing. And when he did the album
Yeah.
with me in 1983, I think he was at the beginning of his career. Somewhat the beginning. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong, but I
No.
never heard of him
Oh, man.
before.
Way before that.
Way
he
before
was
that.
a monster when he played. We played
Oh,
together.
He's been a monster since 1967. Really.
Really,
So
huh?
he's-
Wow.
You've
Just
been playing with him
incredible.
since then?
I have. I've been playing with
Danny
him
has.
since 1970.
Where's he from?
He was originally from Milwaukee, and then
That's right.
Lives in LA.
Been here.
Grew up
I
in the
know he's in
valley.
L.A., but originally, yeah. Everybody in L.A. had to be from somewhere.
Dig it.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from
Just
LA.
about.
It's like here in Florida, same thing.
You
I
know, he
know
was born. You're
everybody's
right.
from somewhere else.
Tell me about the Fleetwood Mac years and between Stevie Nicks, between you're doing individual stuff. You did stuff with the band itself, didn't you?
I just played on one song on that first album that Stevie and Lindsay appeared on, but that wasn't my world. that was a separate thing. I was on the road that whole time with Linda, so I don't know much about that. I just knew all of a sudden I got the call again from Jimmy Iovine's office saying Stevie wants you to be at this session, and I went, and I hadn't seen her for years. We met in 1970, 71, and then they went on the road for about a nice short 2-year tour, and the next thing I knew, I was in the studio with her after having not seen her about 3 or 4 years, and that was it. And she'd find a way to do what she wanted to do, and then go back to the band. And she's a real true spirit. She always told them, "I'll never let you guys down," and that my solo career is my solo career, but I will never screw this band up, which she never did. And
That's great.
Yeah,
To
that's
what
good.
degree did you guys obviously be the California scene? To what degree, if at all, or tremendous amount, were you involved or took part in the whole Laurel Canyon world?
Well, I lived there when I first moved out to LA. I lived there for a couple of years, and it was a lovely scene. Everyone knew everybody. The block that I was on had a bunch of different musicians and writers and managers and different people, and everyone knew everyone else. Everyone would go over to everybody else's crib and play a song, play a record, or listen to something somebody was doing. So there was a lot of give and take, and it was a very friendly, open scene. And I liked it especially because it was so completely different from New York. It was a very closed scene, and you had to step over somebody's dead body in order to get a gig in the studio.
Yeah.
And,
really,
so it was the exact opposite of that. Everyone was very friendly, very open. And if you needed an amp, someone would loan you an amp, without even just do it.
Yeah.
And it was completely. I was shocked at how different it was than what my experience had been in New York.
Have you been to Frank Zappa's house up in the canyon?
I passed. No, I never went over there. I passed by it a million times.
I used to know Frank from Vanilla Fudge days when the mothers opened up for us a bunch of times, and
oh right,
we used to go out to LA. Frank would invite us over the house. And,
that was a famous house.
Studio. Yeah, a killer studio
famous
in
house.
that house. Really tremendous
place.
studio.
Now you guys are we just had a question come up from Stephen here, Pomeroy, about Waddy teaching Leslie West, and you've taught so many people, whether it's certain kinds of licks or just to play in general. Let's go to Leslie. I mean, what kind of? I mean, not really a student. It was something you kind of shared with them, right?
No, actually, like I said, we lived in the same apartment building complex, and I heard some bad guitar playing coming out of one of these apartments.
What year was
And-
that? What year was this?
66 maybe? I don't know, 65, 66 probably.
Wow.
Well, 66, 67 could be. I moved
No,
out in 68.
I think
so.
it had to be earlier than that because when he played with when I saw him at the Vagrants, he was really good.
Well, we put the
At
Vagrants
66.
together.
At
Okay.
66.
Well,
so it must have
it
been
was
before that.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, I was famously truant. Another day of cutting school, and I heard this guitar playing coming out. So I Columboed my way through every floor in the building until I found the apartment it was coming out of, and bang on the door. Guy opens the door. He's got a shirt and an open tie on, but I said, "Are you playing guitar in here?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, my name's Bobby Wachtel, and I can help you. You need help. I can help you, man. I play guitar." He goes, "Yeah? Oh, great." So, that was the start of our
Wow.
deep friendship.
That
And,
doesn't sound like the Leslie I knew.
oh, man.
He
Well, we
definitely
started,
evolved.
he evolved. And he evolved so much. I mean,
Yeah.
but we'd spend all the time together in the world. And his brother Larry, they knew my brother. We were always, the four of us were always in each other's lives. And
I met Leslie back in 1963. He had the Vagrants. I had a soul band when they played with us, and they were the Rolling Stones, and he wasn't very good then. And then 3 years later, when I saw him at the Action House, he had such great tone and great sounds. So it must have been in there is when you must have talked.
yeah, it has to be. Because, I mean, quite honestly, we didn't have a drum. We put the band together with his brother Larry. Jerry Storch played the keyboards. Peter Sabatino was the lead vocal. Roger wasn't there yet. I said, well, I can play drums till we find a drummer. So I banged on these drums, regrettably, for a couple of weeks till they found Roger. So that's when the Vagrants were formed. Is when we were living together. Living in the same place.
Hey, Vinny, you're hearing about all these great bands from the late '60s, early '70s. You come along, Black Sabbath. It's a whole different part of rock and roll, but. Having a big brother like Carmine, and then these guys like Waddy, like Danny, like some of the other guys we've been talking to, how much did they affect your development as a drummer?
Well, I listened to a lot heavier stuff when I grew up, like Hendrix and a band called Blue Cheer. I listened to Fudge. But hearing these stories are totally incredible, Like these guys are the only guys that played with more people than Carmine did. Carmine played with so many people.
I heard that Kenny Aronoff has got 1,300 gold records.
Really?
Come on.
Wow.
I mean, think about
That's
it.
crazy.
Probably. He's played with everybody forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these stories
if he's
they're
got
telling are
1,300,
fantastic.
there's like 2,500 between these two guys.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be.
I only have 30 or 40, but not even that. But
You
guys
guys
don't
talk
have
about-
Waddy don't have gold records. He has guitars all over the wall.
He's got gold guitars back there.
I had to sell them. There was some thin times out here in LA, so we had to sell the gold records. I got a couple of them sitting around somewhere, but
So talk about that Gene Hackman moment. Did you ever have somebody come up to you guys like, hey, remember when we recorded this and you didn't remember it? It was like, no, I don't remember that. Or was it always something, a project that you guys were always, big part of?
I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't think so.
You know what? Hang on for a second. That was a stupid ass question. As I'm asking it, I'm like, where are you going with this? So let me say that for you, what you're thinking. Listen, I can say that. I got no problem with it. But let me get back to like some of the beginning days of this whole thing that you guys are doing, because and help me a little bit. I say 50 years you've been together. What was the immediate family together 50 years, or are you guys doing projects 50 years?
No. Let me see. Russ and Lee and myself, we started playing backing up James Taylor back in 1970, 71. And we've been playing together that long in various, combinations. Not all the time, but a lot of the time. And so that's, 50 plus years. And then we met Waddy 5 years after that. So I've only been playing with Waddy 45 years.
yeah.
Ah, okay.
He's the new
But it's
kid.
funny because you're still putting out albums.
Well, yeah, we got to do it.
that's
This is
what
the
you
first
do.
opportunity we've had to play to actually start our own band and play our own music and to play rock and roll. So it had to happen. And,
Are you guys going on tour?
Oh,
Going
hell
out?
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, November.
Oh, good.
November.
The God's willing, if everything doesn't shut down again, yeah, we're going to go.
What kind of gigs are you playing? Like clubs or small theaters or like Ron's place?
Yeah, that's like you said, clubs, small theaters, that kind of thing to start with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I would. Does your gigs or do your gigs? Are they like somewhat of a storyteller's kind of an experience?
No.
No.
We just play
music.
We just play our songs. Yeah.
That's cool.
If there was is there a song that you guys wish you would have wrote?
Lots of them.
Yeah, about 1,000 or 1,000,000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any
sure.
of the Beatles songs.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Any of them.
Waddy,
I'm
did you work with John Lennon at all?
I didn't, but Danny did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Vinny did too.
I did a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do? What'd you do?
What did you do with them, Danny?
All right. So when I met him, I was pals with Jim Kilder. He was one of my dear pals, and him and I were running buddies at that time.
Right.
And we ended up together on a Harry Nilsson record called Pussycats. John was the producer. Harry was the artist, supposedly. and there was a ton of guys there. There was like, maybe 30 people in the band, and that's when I met him. It was insane. As you can
That rolled out easy. About 30 people.
Was
in
that the
band.
first We Are the World that?
It was the opposite of We Are the World. At one point I looked up on the front. There's 3 drum risers, and I look up there. There's Keltner, Ringo, and Keith Moon all pounding.
Wow.
So
Crazy.
it was
That
a
must have
million
been
laughs.
wild. Yeah.
That's a
Wow.
good one.
And John Lennon was a great guy, lovely guy, easy to get along with. No attitude, never pulled rank, didn't act like a big shot, straight ahead, great guy.
You hear that? So give me the opposite. Who was the one? Can you tell me who the guy that you worked with or the person you worked with that was like, oh
we
my
lost
gosh?
him.
Whoop. You
You
got
don't
me?
want to get him in trouble. You don't want to get him in trouble.
Yeah, we ain't saying that. Vinny, when did you work with John? What did you do with John Lennon?
We were good friends with Jimmy Iovine, and we actually used to pick him up on the way from Brooklyn into the city, and we'd
And they
pull
go,
out,
hey, Jimmy, Vinny's here.
Jimmy! And he'd come down. We go to the record plant, and then we did. Jimmy called us one night. We had a rehearsal. We managed by the record plant studios, and Jimmy called us one night and said, "Can you guys come up and do some hand claps? Come down, actually, for this record." I said, "Okay." So it was a 9-piece band, full horn players, really good band. Went down, and there's John Lennon in the studio, and we're like, "Oh shit!" I was 16, so we did hand claps on that song. And then we got to know him a little bit. A couple days later, he kept coming up to our rehearsal room, hanging out, smoked some joints with him, and then he asked us to do 3 videos with him, and we did that. And he produced some songs for the owner of the record plant's wife, and we were the band. And then we did a live TV show in 1975 that was at the New York Hilton, and later on, we did 3 songs, Imagine, Slippin' and Slidin', and Stand By Me. And then later on, like about 4 years ago, I get Guitar Aficionado magazine, and it's got a big picture of the band with John, and it says this was his last performance ever. And I freaked out. I didn't know that. I went, I played his last performance? Holy shit. Freaked out. So.
And then the good thing happened.
And then we were talking about Italian food one night. This is funny. So I'm telling John, my grandparents are Italian. My mother makes the killer lasagna and the meatballs and this and this and that. I said, I'll have her make you a pan of lasagna. He goes, okay, cool. So a couple days later, I bring in a pan of lasagna. So I see John. I go, hey, this is from my mother, and she wanted you to have it and check it out. And he thanked me, and then he went away with the lasagna and the pan. And then about a month or 2 later, Carmine.
I'm playing the Garden with Rod 5 nights, and we had a party on the last night. John Lennon came to the show and came to the party. My parents came to the party. So my mother's with me. She goes, isn't that John Lennon? I go, yes. She said, I just made... Vinny gave him some lasagna for me. I want to know if he liked it. I never found out if he liked it. I said, let's go find out. So we go over there, and we tell my mother, this is Vinny, my mother. This is John, my father. Hey, nice to meet you. It's very polite. So my mother says, I never found out if you liked the lasagna I made. He goes, oh, yes, it was delicious. It was wonderful. So my mother says, could I have the pan back?
I was waiting for that.
That was the pan. That was the pan. We made all the lasagna for the family all the time,
See, it was seasoned.
Had to
It's become
happen.
a legendary story.
We never got the pan back. We think Yoko has it. So,
That's
We're going to go after it.
Hilarious.
Waddy,
Great
Danny,
story.
we got to thank you so much for joining us this week. Again, icons, legends. It's been an honor to have you with us, really.
yeah, thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
so much.
thank you.
Thanks so much.
Nice
Waddy,
meeting
great
you.
to see you again. Danny, I didn't know you that well, but I met you a couple of times here and there. But Waddy, we go way back, and it's great to see you. When they said you got Waddy
Absolutely.
Wachtel, I said,
Well, I
how do
gotta
you
say,
know
I
Waddy
love,
Wachtel?
I got to say, I love Danny's style. I mean, look at the
Yeah,
scarf.
he
He's
is
still got the
definitely
New York style.
Well, can't help it.
Always.
There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
We wish you guys the best with the
Thank you,
tour,
guys.
with the new album, and really
Yeah.
thank you for joining us here on Hangin' and Bangin' as we come together every Thursday, 7 p.m. East Coast 6 p.m. Central, and 4 p.m. on the other place, the West Coast, as they say. Carmine Apiece, Vinny Appice, love you guys. We'll see you guys next week. Make sure you're following us, you're liking us, you see us on on the Facebook page, and of course our on the Spotify channel. And check out the Drum Wars tour. It's going to be coming to the Arcada, I know that. But until next week, keep hanging, keep banging, and we'll see you here right back here on this same bad channel next Thursday. Have a great week, guys.